Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 666 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our ninth book just came out. It's called From Letters to Leaders, The Legacy of Service. So I want you to go and pick up that book on Amazon today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring fraternity and sorority leaders together. Fun fact, I love bringing fraternity brothers onto the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because we have all of the same friends, and we've also had incredible experiences both as undergraduates as well as alumni on a national level. And our next guest certainly fits that bill, and I can't wait to introduce you to him. So over time, the standards that Max Quinn has set for himself, including small habits, simple structure, and daily execution, helped him lose over 80 pounds. He now has regained his energy, his confidence, his self-belief, and his purpose. Max was able to completely transform how he showed up, not just physically, but as a husband, as a father, and as a leader. And it came from consistency, accountability, and learning how to work with his life instead of against it. Max is here to share that message with audiences all over the world. Welcome to the show, Max.
Thank you so, Mike. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for this great opportunity.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I want to help out fraternity brothers any way that I can. And I think your message is a really important one now more than ever. And we are going to get to all of that. Before we get to all of what you're doing today, I know that we share some incredible fraternity brothers from the Sigma Pi chapter at Bridgewater State. It's literally one of the best chapters in the country. And I'm not just saying it, but if you look at who is a member from that chapter, it's kind of like a who's who of incredible leaders. And I'm wondering what made you choose Bridgewater State for your undergraduate experience?
Yeah, I came from a small high school and I went to an even smaller college in New York to start. And I met some great friends there, but it just felt like something was missing, mostly community, connection, the chance to really spread my wings, rather. And I didn't know exactly what I was looking for, but I just had this gut feeling that I wanted more. And Bridgewater State was perfect for a couple of reasons. I was from Massachusetts. It was like 35 minutes from my house. I could live on campus, and the tuition was way less than an out-of-state private school. So for lots of reasons, it's like, all right, I got to make this change. And it had the balance I wanted. It's big enough to explore around, but small community feel, which is what I really wanted. I didn't want to go to this massive school either. So, for me, it was like moving on campus, got involved right away, became a tour guide of all things, started meeting people, learning the ropes, and never thought I'd be that person. But, it was just the beginning.
Here you are, the number one Bridgewater State fan. And I tell you what, the students there are absolutely incredible. And what I really like about the students there is their values. And that kind of fits in with everything that you're about as a human. There's just incredible values on that campus. And it never ceases to amaze me how genuine and how sincere and just how great the students are from a community service perspective and just always doing the right thing. That's what I think about when I think about a Bridgewater State student. And you joined Sigma Pi, of course, at Bridgewater State. I'm wondering what drew you into this particular fraternity and how did that experience shape who you are today?
It shaped everything. I mean, I was a transfer student, and my RA was like, "Hey, why don't you come to this recruitment event that I'm going to down the hall? Like, let's go meet some of the people on campus." And I was like, all right. So I just tagged along. I didn't know anybody. I was hesitant. I was like, is this a cult? What am I doing? And it all changed once I started to meet the guys. It started to click. I was like, here's a group of guys committed to becoming the best version of themselves. I could get behind that. I also like the colors, purple and gold. I mean, I won't lie. And that the sense that everybody kind of had each other's back was the other key for me. Brotherhood, the core values, the feeling of being part of something bigger than me. I think I've written that on every resume I've ever submitted because it really resonates with me deeply. There's one line in the motto that stands out to me amongst anything. Progress, man's instinctive mark alone. Like that phrase for me, I was like, yes, this is part of the blueprint of who I want to be. And there was a personal connection too. I love Superman. Growing up, it was my favorite superhero. And I always felt like being in a fraternity, like you wore the letters on your chest. It was like you're kind of part of something bigger than you, right? And so for me, I took that leap of faith in spring 2008 and I never looked back. I ended up actually working at Bridgewater State and running residence halls there, and it really kickstarted my whole leadership journey, professional journey. It's how I figured I want to go into higher education and help make a difference in people's lives.
Man, that's an incredible story, and I'm so happy that you found your home there at Sigma Pi and at Bridgewater State because it truly did shape the rest of your life. I don't think there's any question about that. And you even volunteered for the fraternity as well. You served as
Yeah.
Province Archon for Sigma Pi in New England, where you get an opportunity to mentor multiple chapters, not just Bridgewater State. So I'm wondering, what were some of the big leadership lessons that you learned working with undergraduate fraternity men all over the region in New England?
I mean, one of the biggest lessons I learned was that we're united in brotherhood and ritual, but the culture from chapter to chapter is completely different, right? I remember coming from, you know, a school where we didn't have traditional fraternity houses. And then I visited campus that did, and I was in awe of that experience, I was kind of jealous of it to a point, you know? But what stood out to me over time was whether it was in a residence hall or in a house, the core was the same. Brotherhood, shared ideals, a mission to make the campus better through leadership and leading by example. It's a powerful lesson for me. And the other thing was like the handshake, the instant connection. It creates that trust immediately. And as a leader, it taught me something critical that trust is the foundation. You have to have it so you can lead. And if you don't, nothing else really matters. You have to build that trust first. And so that was really helpful. And the other thing was culture. If you want to change a culture, a leader has to do two things, right? First, you have to eat, sleep, and breathe that culture, those core values. You can't just talk about them. You have to live them in a way that people can see it every single day. And secondly, you have to build those people up, not just the teams, but the individuals with inside those teams. Teams who hold the standards, the mission, right? All the fraternities, they have core ideals, they have values, they have missions, but culture isn't built in the meetings, it's built through the people and their daily actions. And so for me as a leader, you're constantly straddling the line between where we're going and how we're going to get there. It's the process, the people, the moving parts of the day to day. And that's where a lot of leaders I feel like fall short. They focus on the vision, but not the execution. Or they focus on the execution, but not the vision. And honestly, I feel like you really need both. And fraternities already have that blueprint in stock, right? Core values, creeds, ideals, they're founded with purpose. So the opportunity to bring that to life and helping the individual grow, that's how you change culture. And for me, it starts with becoming the best version of you. And that's a lot of, I think, what we're going to talk about a little bit more here today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I totally agree. I think fraternity is more relevant than ever before. So I'm totally with you in terms of those core values and the importance to college students. And we had very similar experiences, I think, as Province Archon, even though we were in different areas of the country. Certainly the first time that I got to Cornell and I saw the Mu chapter at Cornell Sigma Pi House, I kind of fell to my knees on their lawn because it's everything you dream a fraternity house would be, right? And we
Yes.
didn't have that as undergrads. And so when you see it, it's kind of like, seeing Mecca. You're just like, oh my God, like this place is amazing. This is like what it all should look like. And then when you have that handshake that spans across 100 years of men on college campuses everywhere from Bridgewater State to UCLA. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing when you think about it, that we share that with 120,000 other men, that ritual, those values, and everything that you talked about. One of your core messages is that leadership isn't about titles. It's about the habits that you build when nobody else is watching. So, what are a few daily habits that separate the great student leaders from average students?
I mean, for me, I think it starts with intent, right? Great leaders don't just wake up and they just react to the day and just take what's going on with them, right? They decide who they're going to be before that day even begins. And they don't let life happen to them. Like you said about me, they happen to life. And from there, I think it's how you show up physically and mentally. Prioritizing daily movement, fueling your body properly, those aren't just fitness habits, they're leadership habits. Your body isn't just your temple, it's your billboard, right? The way you carry yourself, the way you show up into those rooms, it sends a message before you even say a word. So for me, confidence is that other separator. And I think a lot of people think about, they think confidence comes first, but I don't think it does. Confidence is built by keeping the promises you make to yourself. And if you told yourself, I'm going to start on Monday 100 times, and you didn't follow through, you're not going to keep trusting yourself, right? And when you start stacking these small wins over time, going on a walk every day, strength training, eating with intention, you start to build that trust back. And that's exactly what happened to me, right? And started carrying it to everything that I do. My energy, my presence, leadership at work, leadership at home. And when you're underfueled, I feel like you're underprepared mentally, physically, and emotionally, right? At the end of the day, great student leaders aren't doing anything flashy. They're just consistently doing the right things, taking care of themselves, showing up with intention, proving to themselves daily that they can be counted on. And I'm living proof of that.
Man, that
Because
was
you know what?
awesome.
Sorry, the other thing I wanted to say was like, there's nothing special about me, you know? I just started keeping these promises I made to myself. Finally. I mean, it took me 35 years, but I finally did it, right? And that's the thing. That's the key. And I wish I knew that when I was in college for sure.
Yeah. Well, listen, you build those small wins. You have a plan every single day when you wake up and you've got confidence. I think when you have those three pieces, there's really not a lot that you can't do in life. And I totally agree with you. One of my big things is just telling, other brothers, other fraternity and sorority members, I'm just like you. I mean, I am no different than any other human. I'm certainly not the smartest in the room. However, I do build small wins every day. I've got a plan every single day in terms of what I want to do, and I project some
Mhm.
confidence into every meeting that I go into. And I think those things, if you have that and you've got that consistency, you can do anything, honestly. I'm glad that we share all of those thoughts as well. And you also talk a lot about discipline versus motivation, and I think we should talk about this because I do think that discipline is really kind of what sets the great people apart from everybody else. So why do you think so many college students are thinking about motivation instead of building some kind of system that supports long-term success?
Well, Mike, it's because motivation feels good and discipline doesn't always feel good, right? Motivation's an emotion, it's fleeting, it's a feeling, but it comes and goes. And the problem is if you only act when you're motivated, you're going to be inconsistent, and inconsistency is what keeps you stuck. Discipline, on the other hand, is about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's not the whole picture, but it's a big part of it, right? It's building systems that remove the need to rely on how you feel that day and to go in and execute it. And I've learned so much of these things from people like Andy Frisella, Tim Grover, Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, Ben Newton. Like I can keep going on and on, right? These virtual mentors have helped me grow because I've spent the time to invest and listen to what they're saying and start applying it into my life. So many people are giving this information out for free online, just like we're doing right now. That's what matters. Like take advantage of these resources that are out there on the internet, but you can't just listen to it. You have to actually take action, right? And I think both as a student of this work and somebody in higher education, one truth for me keeps showing up. The biggest battle most people will ever face is the battle of the 6 inches between your ears. It's those internal conversations. Did I go or did I stay? Did I follow through or do I quit? Motivation isn't going to win that battle of consistency. Your systems will, your habits will, your discipline will. And that's why I push this so hard with my clients, with my kids, with my students. Once you learn how to build these systems, you don't just succeed in college, you build a foundation that carries into every area of your whole life.
Yeah, Max, you're absolutely right. And I do think that, being physically fit is certainly a part of all of it. There are plenty of days that I wake up and I say to myself, I don't feel like going to the gym today. And I'm sure you feel the same way. There's some days you're just sitting in bed, you're like, I just don't feel like it. But if
Most
you have
days,
that
honestly.
system, yeah, I mean, it's a constant thing in my head. But I
Yeah.
know that if I'm disciplined and I do this every single day, that the results are going to show. And that means going to the gym, even when you don't feel like it. And I know that's difficult, but I think that discipline is what separates the greats from everybody else. And you have this workshop, it's called Resilient Leadership Becoming the Leader Your Chapter Needs. And in there, you are emphasizing aligning your daily behavior with essentially the letters, the fraternity or sorority that every student wears on their chest. So, what does that look like in practice for fraternity and sorority members?
I mean, your letters aren't just on a sweatshirt or a Rush t-shirt, right? They're a statement about who you are and what you stand for. And the reality is people are always watching what you do. So every choice you make, especially when you're on a college campus in your little bubble, right? The reality is every chance you make, every habit you build, every interaction you have, it's going to reflect those values. And it's easy to say that here, right? For us to talk about this, but the reality of it is it's not easy in practice. But it looks like doing the small things right consistently. Things like showing up on time, following through on commitments, reading and answering your emails in a timely fashion. I think that's the biggest struggle for like even grad students that I work with right now. Helping your brothers and sisters without being asked, like going that extra mile, taking initiative, taking your academics seriously, because that's what you're there for, right? You don't go to college to be in fraternity, you go there to get a degree and build a career, right? So taking that seriously is so critical. and most importantly, holding yourself accountable when no one's watching. People hear this all the time. I'm not the first person to say any of the things I'm saying today. I've just been able to implement them in my life and apply them in my career, and that's helped me get some great success. But at the end of the day, leadership isn't about what you say, it's about what you do repeatedly, right? The goal that your actions stack up over time. And people don't just respect the letters, they respect you. That's the goal. They actually believe in what those letters represent based on how you're showing up.
I love
And
that.
the opposite can be true, right? Like if you are doing things that you shouldn't do and being a frat boy versus a fraternity man, people are going to associate those letters with those actions and those behaviors.
Yeah. I love that quote there. Leadership is about not about what you say, but it's about what you do. At the end of the day, I mean, Max and I, we can talk about the creed of Sigma Pi and we can tell you what the values are. That's very easy for us to do. But the reality is that people on a college campus or other students that see us as professionals in higher ed, they don't really know what those values are. And so the
Right.
only thing that they can judge us on is how we act. What are our actions? And if every single day we are working to make higher ed, let's say, a safer place, or we want to grow fraternity and sorority so more members get the same leadership opportunities that we did, that's what people see. And they see that consistently on a daily basis, and that's who you are. And so they'll never really necessarily know what the fraternity stands for in terms of actual values or what our creed is, but they see what we do. And I'm telling you that other students who are not Greek on your campus, they're watching what the Greeks are doing in their actions. And that tells them a whole lot about who you are. And so keep that in mind, I think, as you move forward in life. And that's not just for college, but that goes all the way through your alumni years as well. And one of your workshops introduces something that's called the Power List System, which are 5 daily non-negotiable actions that can move somebody forward. So how can fraternity or sorority members use this power list system to improve things like academics, leadership, and personal development?
Yeah, the Power List is one of the simplest, most impactful systems I've ever used, and full credit goes to Andy Frisella for inventing it and sharing it out on his MFCO podcast. If you want to hear all about it, check out episode 107. It's on Spotify. Listening to Andy's podcast literally changed my life, and I was able to complete the 75 Hard program last year. And for those who don't know, 75 Hard is a mental toughness program that includes 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside, 45 minutes each, clearly identified diet, reading 10 pages of a personal development book, drinking a gallon of water, and taking your progress photos every single day. And you have to do that every day for 75 days without wavering. And it is a mental transformation program. It's not a physical program. It's something that transforms your mind, the 6 inches that we're talking about, right? It's designed to build discipline and grit. And working with Andy's company, First Form, has helped me to serve their mission of helping real people achieve long-term results through nutrition, habit, and mindset coaching. I'm an advisor in their app. I help clients overcome lifelong struggles to unlock their potential, teach them systems and habits that can literally change their lives and create a ripple effect across their families for generations. That's the work I'm committed to doing. And that's the mission of the Family Legacy Project that I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later today. That's what I've been put on this earth to do, to help people, to help their families become the best version of them. And the Power List is a tool to help me become the best version of myself. So the Power List idea is this. Every day you identify these 5 non-negotiable actions that move you forward. 5 actions that compound over time to bring you closer to the person you want to be or the goals that you desire. And for me, personally, last year, I won 327 days. I only lost 38. That's like 5.5 weeks. So think about all the time I spent investing in myself to become this person. Every day you don't win, you're one day further away from where you want to be, right? So the Power List system is a life changer because it removes decision fatigue. You don't have to figure out what to do. You already know what to do. You know what matters. All you have to do is go and do it. And so how I put into practice for me, I'll share a little bit with you. One of them has been leading by example. So showing up for myself and others every single day. Daily movement, tracking my food has been the biggest game changer for me in this start-stop challenge I've had my whole life dealing with weight loss. I was bullied profusely in high school and middle school, and I could never figure out how to change my body to get the confidence that I wanted or feel good in my own skin. And it was the habit of tracking my food that really helped me move that forward. The other one's paying yourself first. So investing in your growth, reading 10 pages of a personal development book, journaling, visualizing the life that I want, working on my nutrition coaching certification as well, right? They're the ones building new connections, building my network, meeting new people, helping to solve problems, expanding opportunities for people to grow and bringing them into my ecosystem and supporting the people that are already there, giving back to them, teaching them, coaching them, mentoring them, educating them. And lastly, it's community and social media. Being present in your community, online, showcasing the work that you're doing is really helpful. So that's what I built in my power list, and it's helped me make some great progress there. I've done these 5 things consistently. They've compounded over time. I've won more days than I've lost, and I'm living proof of that example. But think about it from a college standpoint. Academics can improve because you're disciplined. Your leadership skills improve because you're leading by example. Personal growth accelerates because you're investing in yourself daily. And that's the beauty of the power list. It's simplicity. It's execution over everything. Doing it every day over time, you compound your wins and you become undeniable.
Wow. That is very impressive. I love all of it. And you obviously have gone through this incredible personal transformation. You lost over 80 pounds while building a disciplined lifestyle that you lead today. Talk to our audience about when was that turning point that made you decide I need to change my habits in life?
Yeah. So this has all been over the last 3 years. So I'm 38 now. I was 35 when I decided I need to change, and it was really due to my kids. My son was born in 2020. I didn't do anything. I kept talking about it, but I didn't do anything. And then my daughter was born in 2022, and I was like, all right, this is the time. I got to do something. And it still took me from December to April to do anything. But it also happened because I saw someone close to me do it first. My brother, he lost 70 pounds before his wedding. He did 75 hard. He was telling me about this guy, Andy, in his podcast. And I was like, what is going on here? And I realized, like, I can't be the older, shorter, fatter brother. Like, I got to do something for me, right? I have these 2 kids. Like, I have to take control. And it was when I became a father that everything shifted, right? I started asking myself, am I truly showing up as the example that my kids deserve? Not just in what I say, but how I'm living. And that was hard, but a necessary reality check. And I grappled with this for years, like I just described, before I took any action. But once I saw my brother do it, I realized that I could do it too. And that's the hope that I want to give to other people. This is what I learned, that belief doesn't come first. Belief is built through the action. I didn't just wake up one day and overhaul my life and start doing all these things, right? I started small. I focused on small actions and small habits first, and I scaffolded them and built them up. So I stacked them together. I started just lifting a couple times a week. Then I added in some walks. Then I started tracking my food. And I realized I have to hit a protein goal, right? If I don't eat enough protein, I'm going to lose the muscle I have. I can't build new muscle either. So I had to start prioritizing protein when I was eating. And then I was like, well, I should probably stay hydrated too. So I got to drink a little bit more water here, right? Then I was like, all right, I should learn more about this stuff. Let me start reading and educating myself, right? So I just started small and started adding on over time, over years. And that's the big thing. It's nothing extreme. It's just things I started doing over and over again. And these small wins started to compound. I started building evidence for myself. And I feel like that's where my confidence started to grow. And over time, it snowballed into this completely different lifestyle. So the turning point wasn't one big moment. It was a decision to start and then a commitment to keep showing up for myself and keep that promise I made on behalf of my kids. That's what changed everything for me.
Yeah, well, listen, as a father of two, I will tell you that absolutely your kids will change everything about you. Like your whole life
Yeah.
instantly changes. And I'm glad that you're a dad, and I'm sure a very good one. And I'm sure they're also proud of the progress that you're making. So that's awesome. And you've spent many years working in student affairs as well as enrollment management. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the common mistakes that students are making for preparing for life after graduation?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest mistake is just that lack of intention, right? A lot of students, they graduate, they don't have a real plan. They just assume that they'll figure it out. And while college is meant to be this exploratory period, there's a big difference between exploring and drifting. And in college, you're kind of in this like safety net bubble, and everyone's there for you to kind of help you and support you. And then you go into the real world, and it's like, whoa, my boss gave me some pretty big feedback today. I don't know what to do with that because we were kind of isolated and protected from that. So I think it's not investing in themselves beyond the classroom as well. Things like financial literacy, understanding how money works and budgeting and how much debt did I get into? Is that going to align with the salary I'm going to get from this career path that I've chosen? And what's that life going to look like? Not living above our means, right? I've seen students take on loans without fully understanding what that repayment looks like, or choosing career paths that just has an unrealistic salary to meet the lifestyle they want to live. sometimes there's this tendency to kind of default back to comfort. They move home, they hit the pause button, delay that responsibility, and sometimes that might be necessary, but without a plan, it can turn into stagnation pretty quickly. So at its core for me, it comes down to this. Students underestimate how important it is to pair their degree with a strategy. It's not just about getting a job and figuring it out. It's about who do I want to become? What steps do I need to take to get there? What kind of life do I want to live? That's why I tell everybody to visualize that life. What kind of partner do you want to be with? What kind of house you want to live in? What kind of car you want to drive? All those types of things give you a direction of where to go. And then you map it backwards to those small daily actions to move that forward. And that's really what I want to try to do and help solve and be an extension of this is getting students to think more intentionally about their future so they can step into that next chapter with clarity, confidence, and direction instead of struggle.
That's a wonderful message. I appreciate you sharing that. And we talked a little bit earlier about the Family Legacy Project that you founded. It focuses on building resilience and leadership through habits and discipline. What inspired you to create this platform called the Family Legacy Project?
And that's what I want to do is leave a legacy for my family, you know? So the name kind of just like jumped into me in that essence of it, right? It's born out of my own journey. And honestly, a lot of failure along the way, right? I'm not perfect at this. And like I said before, there's nothing special about me. I spent years feeling stuck, out of shape, and not fully showing up as the man and the husband and the father that I want to be, the one I knew I was capable of. I knew I wanted more, but I just wasn't living it. And so when I had my son, and later my daughter, it changed everything. It forced me to ask that question. How can I expect them to become better than me if I'm not willing to make that commitment to myself? So I want to ask the audience here that's listening something that my coach asked me that has really stuck with me. Would you believe someone who lied to you as many times as you lied to yourself? That hit me hard because I realized I wasn't keeping the promises I was making to myself. Through the systems like the Power List, like I mentioned Andy before, 75 Hard, these disciplined things that I built working with First Form, I realized that leadership and resilience aren't things you talk about, they're things you practice daily. Habits, mindset, consistent action, it's everything. I created the Family Legacy Project to give people a roadmap, but also to give myself a mission big enough that there was no going back. A burn the boats mentality, right? Because if I'm going to achieve this, it's going to take everything that I've got. And to me, that's the greatest gift I can give to my kids in the whole world. And so I'm all about going in on helping people not just improve themselves, but create a ripple effect that affect their families. When you raise your standard and you lead by example, it doesn't just change you, it impacts everyone around you, the people that rely on you. So really the Family Legacy Project is about taking everything I've learned and helping people overcome their lifelong struggles, help them unlock their potential, build habits that last. Everything I'm doing, other people can do, right? Everybody can do it. It's just whether they have the intent. So our mission's simple. Help people, help their families become the best versions of themselves every single day. And that's something I believe in with every fiber of my being.
Yeah, very inspiring. I really appreciate that. And listen, we've both made mistakes. I know I've made literally hundreds, if not thousands, of mistakes, whether it be as chapter president, whether it be as province archon, whether it be as executive director of Sigma Pi, whether it be CEO of Greek University. I've made mistakes. And you know what? Max has too, and that's totally okay. He's just here to share what he's learned throughout that process and make it easier for the next generation. And so I think that's what we share is that we're just trying to make it easier for the next set of college students out there, whether you're in a fraternity or sorority or any organization. We'll help you to, avoid some of the mistakes that we've made and just teach so that way you're in a better place than we are. And I think that's all we can do in life is, just really try to help the next generation, make it a little bit easier for them. And I'm sure that's what you're trying to do for your kids as well, is make their path a little bit easier in life through the Family Legacy Project. It's very inspiring. So I appreciate you sharing that. Now, I do love good food. I think that's my weakness. So the next time I happen to be in the Boston area, and I'm imagining it's probably going to be a place that has some healthy food. We're not going to necessarily, throw our diet out the window. So where should I be going for a great meal in the Boston area?
I'm gonna throw my diet out the window for this one, man. If you want some good pizza, you got to go to Pizzeria Regina. That's where I go. That's where my family's been going forever on Thatcher Street, not the one in the food court, the original one. But other great Italian food on Salem Street is Benevento's, homemade pasta, great pizza, family vibes. Both those places are on my list for sure.
I love the Italian and the pizza. I'm the same way as a guy who was born in Manhattan, and I know some good pizza. So I appreciate that you're keeping it real for our college student listeners. Very good. All right. So if our listeners, if they want to book you to speak on their college campus next, where should they go to connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, my website's the best place, pmaxquinn.com. I'm on Instagram at pmaxquinn. But a great place to start is in our school community. We have a free school community on School. It's a web-based platform. It's an app, or you can do it on the desktop. Place where anyone who wants to build discipline and leadership can connect, learn, hold each other accountable. We're focused on daily habits, mindset, systems that create real results, and members get access to free coaching, challenges, and resources to help them build resilience. So it's a great opportunity. And right inside our website, you can get there.
Fantastic. pmaxquinn.com. Go to the website and check out everything over there. Bring Max to your campus because boy, oh boy, is he inspirational. So we appreciate you being here, Max. Thank you so much for sharing all this with our audience today.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Family first.
Of course. And to our listeners, if you learned something today from Max Quinn, which I know you did, I need you to share this episode with your entire chapter. So drop a link in a group chat, share it on social media. You really never know who needs to hear Max's message today. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.